Today we're going to talk about literature, the art of words, which most people like to call and consider it philosophy. Yes, and that is basically true. Besides that, our project, A Picture is Worth 1,000 Words. We will be talking about our main subject this year in English, American literature. We will be describing the main movements throughout history by describing it with a poem that we wrote and a picture for each one of them. And now Basil will present the timeline of literary periods and movements through history. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. English literature has always been there since the medieval days. The era of castles and tales developing through the years to the Renaissance to the Victorian period. In the 1700s, when the British came, a new era has begun. American literature arose, branching into three different movements through the decades. The most important ones that we will be discussing today are Romanticism and Existentialism and African American literature. And now Sultan Abdin will come and present Romanticism.
Before that, we're just going to give you some brochures so you can read the poems with us.
Okay, Romanticism. It started after the Revolutionary War by 50 years. It opened the people's mind with constricted minds with the individualism and the institution and all of this. And it also, how was it? What it really was. Romantic literature is both adventurism and improbable, not meant for a love story. How was it? It was the first literary movement to impact the US, introducing them to the world of literature. Once a vision. This is a poem that we wrote describing this picture. Once a vision, an insight in our mind, just a simple seed buried in the ground, became a creation one of a kind. Something so simple grew so profound. Creativity was my artistry, imagination my fascination. Just the thought of originality rose the sea of inspiration. The spirit is the key to the kingdom, the mind the oasis of origin. Endless possibilities, a land of freedom, limitless options, home of origin. Follow the light, the dark won't take over. Live when it's bright, for it's dim and over. And now I'm ready to talk about existentialism.
Yes, existentialism from 1850 to 1980. First of all, we're going to start with a poem. Free poetry, not a sonnet. As I gaze at my reflection, I inquire this connection. As I gawk at my complexion, I impugn this dissection. Now I start to question, who are you to be I? Now I spring this session, who am I to say why? When the time starts to tarry, 'tis me to write my story. 'Tis the meaning of vitality, the indisputable veracity. Now, we all had that time in our life where we are lost, don't know where to go, lost in our careers or wherever we are. This is probably an existentialist moment. And of course, we've heard among the most famous existentialist quotations, "To be or not to be" by Shakespeare, or "What is the meaning of life?" First of all, what it did, it introduced people to a new dimension of psychology, existence, especially in the 50s. What it really is. Existentialism is a philosophical and literary perspective on the individual's understanding of the world around him and his location in it. Finally, how was it? It was mostly about finding yourself in your life, creating yourself, knowing what's happening around you and what's your position on this earth. Now, Salman Spey will do African American literature.
alaikum. They are representing the African American literature. First, I will start with a poem that describes the picture. Freedom, just a game of pretend. Spread your wings, blackbird, and fly till the end. Safe sees the night, sound sees the day. Black your feather, little bird, just fly away. This path of hope, the bird wants to follow. Just another scam, fills you up with sorrow. Escape the pattern, try something new, before they come and take you too. Once they reach and grip you in, you know the difference of the skin. The puppet master accepts no bravery, the thin line between freedom and slavery. First, what it did, African Americans introduced civilized world of literature. What it really is. It talked about the pain African Americans had to go through as slaves and their role within the large American society. What it was, it evolved through the centuries, starting after the Declaration of Independence in the 18th century to the time President Lincoln's end to slavery in the 19th century, until it speaks in the Harlem Renaissance, a rebirth of the African American world, and the story is still being written until today. Thank you.
Last but not least, I just want to thank Teacher Mazen for inspiring us with this idea. Thank you.
Step down, please. Right here. Before I start, I just want to draw the attention of some students who formed the audience today. Don't be surprised if you receive a fat 0 for the way you are behaving as audience. And I mean it. It's never too late to change your behavior. What shall I say? Of course, let me salute you for this incredible project. Some of you need to practice reading, okay? Because it's a major project, but your inability to read fluently is a blemish on this project. I'm not gonna name the persons, they know themselves. Faisal, my response is hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray. Modestly, from one poet to another, I salute your work. Usually we tend to tell our students, you are a future poet, you are a present poet, Faisal Najad, and I'm not exaggerating. Thank you very much.